Join channel here over at SubScribestar. So the précis is that Disney has values that are not their audience values, and they're losing their core audience, and they're not replacing them, which is a problem when you're a publicly traded company. If you're an SJW, please don't watch so I don't have to wade through 40 passive-aggressive soy comments from 300-pound basement-dwelling coomers jerking it to anime. Plus, I mean, you're fat and you're angry at yourself, not me. So the Mary Sue did this article last week about the failure of the Disney Star Wars hotel. And I thought it was interesting because it's an example of the left wing having to admit that some left wing bit of cancer isn't working. And God help you if you mention that Star Wars or Furiosa is too woke, they will immediately ad hominem and deflect, because they feel it's their solemn duty to defend a stupid company like Disney or a stupid movie like Furiosa, because it becomes a left versus right-wing issue where the left loses their mind and their soy vagina starts getting sand in it, and they get all hot and bothered, the 300-pound blue-haired soy brigade defending the Epstein Islands of Hollywood. So when Mary Sue did an article on it, it caught my attention because Disney is their company. It's completely run by degenerate globalist parasites, and even they have to admit that for some wacky reason, the Star Cruiser base hotel didn't sell, which is weird because everybody loves the new diverse vagina Star Wars with pox, lesbians riding horses in space, except, of course, in China and the Middle East. The left wing is also starting to write articles for why they think Hollywood seems to be dying, because I mean, it's obvious to anyone. Even left-wingers are looking at these movies start to bomb, and they know something's going on. It's their way of getting out ahead of the situation and trying to control the narrative before anyone can say it's, obviously the content is not connecting to an audience. They and everyone else can see that Hollywood is having a problem getting butts in the big screen seats, which is where I guess most of the money is. And over the past few years, it just flat out is not happening. And the streaming isn't doing well either. The combination of Trump derangement syndrome from 2016 and then the BLM riots of 2020, Hollywood is focusing on remakes and prequels and reboots and spinoffs because they're hoping the name recognition gets people in the door. And it's not working anymore because people have been burnt out too many times with woke, diverse, gay Hollywood. It's to the point now where if you see a woman in the lead, you just skip the movie because you know it's going to be a feminist thing. Same with a non-white lead. We know it's going to suck because the last 4 movies in a row have sucked. The movies sometimes can still be okay, like Solo, The Marvels, Furiosa. They were, like I said, there were some parts to Furiosa that I got just roasted in the comments by a bunch of 300-pound soy boys. Did your wife divorce you? Is that why you're so angry at women? Like, well, what about all the women and soy boys who didn't see that movie either? I'm just the one who's saying why it sucked. No one else saw the movie. That's why it bombed. It's like the lowest opening weekend in how many years? Like, they never stop to think. Like, I just look at them and go, why didn't you see the movie? I was like just busy that weekend or something. So there, like I said, there was stuff in all those movies, Solo, Marvels, Furiosa, that was, connected. There were some things that were done well in setting a vibe, but they still lost money. And these 300-pound soy boys are bitching that everyone needs to watch Mad Max without Mel Gibson, or even a younger version of Mad Max if it's a prequel. But the weird thing is the movie is bombing. So why don't the woke women run out and see the feminist action adventure? Turns out that they rarely support the stuff they say they want, but then they get PMS when we say the movies are too woke for us. So you would think that the woke women would go run out and see Charlie's Angels or Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow or, I don't know, the X-Women movie or the Terminator or Ghostbusters 2016 or the Marvels or this movie or Madam Web or a bunch of other chick power movies. And they don't. They just, you're the Chad incels whose wife divorced them. That's why you hate women. So, but all the other women, did their wives divorce them too? Is that why they didn't see the movie? No, just you. But if you pirate Hollywood, They won't be able to afford to make big budget consumer movies. Yeah, who cares? And to be fair, I wasn't going to pay if I couldn't see it for free. It's like that with a lot of music. Hollywood could disappear tomorrow and we would be better off. A lot of what's happening is people just pay for streaming and they skip the big screen, which only works for Hollywood. I guess if you're going to pay more in the big screen than you would have watched on streaming. And actually, for someone like me, and probably for a lot of people, it's probably cheaper to see the big screen because it's only going to be 2 movies at most a year I would want to see, which would be under $30 a year if I saw the matinees. So even paying for streaming doesn't make sense, and I don't. So I guess the people who are using streaming must have been heavy movie goers, or maybe the companies were hoping they'd pay for streaming and go to the big screen, which is like then you really can't justify it when the movies are going to come out on a streaming platform anyway, and when the movies aren't fantastic. Like if something that just blows the tits off of people came out, a Raiders of the Lost Ark or a New Hope, yeah, people would go get the big screen experience. But those movies Hollywood's never going to make those movies again. A Lord of the Rings, no, those days are long gone. I don't know if you saw The Hobbit. You know what I'm talking about with The Hobbit. It's like that was kind of one of the first signs. I didn't understand it when that came out, but I wasn't really paying attention to wokeness. And then I saw The Hobbit, and I saw the people in the village. I'm like, wait a minute, what? You have to see The Hobbit to know what I'm talking about. It was a diverse village in a little Hobbit village. It's like this isn't Lord of the Rings. What is this? Oh, this is globalist parasitical nonsense. Anyway, so there's a lot of left-wing excuses going around online, but you've already guessed the criticism that they excluded the toxic, woke, anti-white, globalist content of the movies. They refuse to mention this. They come up with all kinds of lists and excuses that have always existed. They mention Biden's inflation, but are scared to talk too much about it. Otherwise, they're blaming Yellen and Biden's administration. So they're left with writing these long double-speak articles about why people don't see the movies now. And it has nothing to do with the fault of the movie. It's like, well, clearly that's the number one thing you'd point at would be the content of the product you're selling, not all these ancillary issues. What's the primary issue? It's the content of whatever you're selling. Movies suck because they're fucking woke. No, Chad incel, chud incel, touch grass. Yikes, my guy. Yeah, at home all you want. It doesn't get people to go to the theaters. And for me to pay $16 to go see a movie, that's clearly not worth $16. It's the woke content of the movies. Anyway, reading this article was interesting because it talks about the failure of the Star Wars hotel, and most of it sums up to the people working on the hotel don't care. It sounded like a quality control issue where they're making mistakes that are inconceivable to a team that was familiar with Star Wars, and the underlying failure is the hotel was pushing the Disney Star Wars, not the other films. The problem is that nobody liked the Disney Star Wars. It was just the standard diversity girl power nonsense. People saw it so they could finish the 9-movie set, but nobody cared about why Rogue One was pretty good. But nobody cared about the Mary Sue English girl and her ugly token sidekicks. Disney Star Wars didn't inspire anyone. It was for teen girls to LARP a little bit over the girl characters and the romance between what's-his-face. And that was it. Nobody bought the toys and the merchandise, the t-shirts, whatever. And there was no way in hell Disney was going to sell a hotel space experience on $2,500 a night per person. The only way to get that would be to do the experience based on the original Star Wars with Darth Vader, and even the Ewoks would sell better than this woke Disney pox people. But I don't think Disney has the legal rights to the real Star Wars, so they were left with faux Star Wars, which would have been okay if they could have made movies that inspired the audience, and Disney had every tool in the toolbox to make that happen, and they looked at that and they go, nah, we're going to make it woke. But they can't. Hollywood days of magic and inspiration are over. You're never going to get a movie like 77 Star Wars ever again. While diversity is cancer to me, it's a religion to the woke crowd, and I don't mean that hyperbolically. I mean it literally, it is. They worship globalism. Disney is incapable of doing what it used to do in the 90s. The quality control is gone, and I think the Schwab DEI probably has a lot to do with it. where if you don't hire on merit, you're hiring on a diversity checklist. So Disney is doomed to failure. This is just one example, but this is a pretty serious sign of the decline of Disney. It's not just an attraction failing. It's an attraction tied to the $4 billion rights they paid for the post-Lucas Star Wars. This and Solo bomb because the current Disney is not the 90s Disney, the family-friendly attention to details Disney. For a hotel like this to work, you have to have people who are familiar with Star Wars, and more than just a little familiar. They really have to be fans of it. And the fan base that will pay $5,000 for 2 people, and when the quality control people notice an issue, they need to have the power to fix it. Toot sweet. One of the minor things, some of the complaints they mentioned, was the rooms didn't have the Disney Plus video streaming available as part of the package. The user had to sign in. This should have been fixed instantly. Any TV streaming service Disney has connected to them, from Hulu, ESPN, Disney Plus, I think there's a few others, they have to have that freely available in the rooms. The person should not have to sign in for anything. They just turn on the TV and it's there. The fact that this was overlooked meant that everyone involved in the chain of command didn't understand hotels at this price point. The people working on the hotel have to stay in the hotel and fix the minor issues before it goes to the public. Simple tech things like a display port had a light on the outline, like kind of a backlit display, which was annoying. It made it harder to view. Those kind of mistakes are unthinkable. Or they had a seat at one of the concert rooms that was behind some sort of obstruction. You simply remove the seat and you remove it from the possibility of sales. It's like that. You see that often where there'll be an empty seat because it's behind something. What happened was Disney had something expensive and flashy, but the people working on it either didn't care or didn't understand Star Wars or hotels in general, or didn't have the power to communicate problems to their managers. Or there's another kind of deeper issue of about a diverse work crew where they just don't feel comfortable with each other communicating issues. And that's kind of a longer, that's kind of what you're seeing with the collapse of the West right now. So it seems like so many things these days, there are a lack of the concept of whistleblowers, even at some end of some magnitude, because nobody cares. They're just there for a paycheck, and if the project fails, they just move on to another one. The failure of Disney is actually a deeper issue about the ending of America. There is no Disney when it tries to be all things to all people. It used to be a family-friendly, safe bit of escapism. Now it has men in dresses and everything is for the BLT community. But that's not what the family-friendly crowd wants. We have different values from Disney, which is fine, but it means that people are leaving Disney. The problem is that Disney isn't getting this new BLT left-wing audience that claims to love diversity and the big gay agenda. Disney is like a shell of itself, a zombie. It's got the same flash and big-budget movies, but the values are different. I mean, the production values for Disney are amazing. If you didn't know anything about whatever Disney movies are coming out with, you would think, oh, everything is in the right place. They have everything from the sound design to set design. Everything works really well. The tech, you can tell the people know what they're doing. It's just the script that they're given and the casting choices are, oh, this is just diverse cancer. I'm not into it. That's the problem. And SJWs do this stuff all the time. They claim to love something, but they want to update it for their current Frankfurt School values of filth and degeneracy. So what do they like about this new Disney if it isn't Disney? That's the thing. They don't like it. They don't watch it. They just wanted to take it away from you, which they have, and now they're shit. They have the empire of dust to rule over, and you're watching the collapse of Disney and Hollywood in general, which is great. The left-wing Twitter kids get so angry when I say to pirate Hollywood first to see if something is good, and they say Furiosa needs to make money so you'll get another Mad Max movie without Mad Max, of course. No, Hollywood is better off going bankrupt. It won't, but it will get smaller. The budgets are already going down. You don't think about it that much, but when you add in inflation to the numbers, it's actually more than it looks like. Disney is degenerate. Let it fail. Movies like Furiosa are long line. Yeah, I know it's not Disney. Long line of girl power movies that girls don't see, so they need to fail. Believe it or not, we don't need Disney or Hollywood at all. The price point for a top-end Star Wars hotel is not the problem. People will gladly pay for an experience, but quality control has to be top-notch, and it wasn't. It was affirmative action hiring, probably. And the movies have to be the core. I mean, like, definitely. And the movies have to be the core that people feel connected to, and Disney simply can't make modern movies that connect with the audience because Disney is pushing globalist values. The bullshit found family concept, diversity is better than blood tribe, all that kind of Saul Alinsky nonsense. That's a toxic communist belief system that lizard people who dine on human souls. We are tribal. Blood tribe, family, unity is our strength. Most of us are into some sort of religious structure of some sort, a patriarchy, an in-group preference, even if it's a lot of this stuff is in the subconscious. Even if people say they're not religious, but you look at the things, they're kind of on the penumbra of the order and structure that comes with a patriarchal, hierarchical system. We're organic. Disney is now Marxist propaganda. Nothing they do connects with people because it's a message that we don't value. The failure of the hotel starts with the failure of the movies. They made money in the theaters from the 2015 Disney movies, but that was it. When the movies ended, with the Kylo Ren, Daisy Ridley thing, the experience ended. Nobody wanted, who was that? Rose Tico toys or coffee mugs or T-shirts with Finn and who was the other guy? Poe on them. They simply wanted to finish what they started in 1977, or the new R2-D2 robot, the rolling ball type of stuff. The old robot is, the trash can design is just iconic. And C-3PO, and even how they treated the actors, C-3PO and the guy who said it's a trap, how they treated them at the end of Disney shows is just fucking abomination. How Abrams and Johnson and the people on set treated those actors. It's just insane. And we did finish the Disney 77 Star Wars. It's over. The audience has no interest in Solo. It actually lost money. The first Disney to lose money. Congratulations. They're not interested in the Star Wars attractions or any further movies from Disney. Star Wars is over for the average 45 to 60 year old. Is that when, kind of roughly maybe 40 to 60? There's younger people who got up on Disney from the VHS. But their kids and grandkids don't care. So Star Wars is truly and finally dead. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next episode.